Maize is the national staple food in Zambia, providing about 60% of the caloric requirements and comes mainly from small-scale farmers and is almost entirely rain-fed. With good rainfall and the sustained provision of government subsidies on both the production and marketing side, the country has produced maize surpluses for the last 2 decades. Zambia can be said to be a truly blessed country in terms of food security. Despite the effects of climate change, the country has sufficient maize stocks compared to most of our neighbors in the region. It is for this reason that government, through the Food Reserve Agency (FRA), has been constantly releasing white maize to milling companies to produce more mealie meal for the local market. Despite the country having sufficient maize stocks to produce mealie meal, there has been a shortage of the commodity on the market, resulting in people lining up to purchase the food. This is as a result of the high demand for the commodity from both within and outside the country, which has created a recipe for some people to smuggle maize and mealie meal out of the country. The smuggling of maize and mealie meal has posed a threat to national food security as it is creating an artificial shortage of the commodity. Government is aware of this vice and has therefore put in measures to safeguard national food security. The shortage of mealie meal and the subsequent increase in the price of the commodity is artificial. This is evidenced by the large stock of maize the country currently has.
We released 65,000 metric tons of maize, which hasn't even been decomposed, which hasn't been released yet. I think the loading orders will be given. We released 30,000 metric tons. 65 plus 30, within a period of about 10 days, is 95,000 metric tons of maize. It is therefore disturbing to see that when you offload such quantities of maize, which are sufficiently able to cover, to support what the other people are holding, what the millers are holding, etc., sufficiently able to cover to ensure that the country has sufficient stock of mealie meal, that we can be having those queues. So we will be monitoring what goes in, we'll be monitoring what goes out. And any miller that will be found wanting will be set aside and they will be expected to operate within their own confines and their own stock. This very cheap and fairly priced maize, which we are giving to the millers, we want Zambians to benefit from the price.
Government is confident that the country is food secure and that there is no need for panic by members of the public, as everything possible is being done to curb smuggling.
I'm still giving assurance that we have enough food stock in the country to take us into the next harvest season. When is the next harvest season? Ordinarily, in an ordinary year, we open our markets as Food Reserve Agency around the 15th of June. But we have already seen, as we are talking today, that some maize has already been dried and is on the market. The Zambia National Farmers Union has right now more than 40,000 metric tons of maize, which is ready to be sold onto the market. A few farmers, if you travel, you go to southern, some parts of southern, some parts of eastern, they are already offloading their maize onto the market. So in other words, we are already in the season.
The artificial shortage of mealie meal on the market is being created by some people engaged in smuggling of maize and mealie meal. These people have resorted to using different means of transporting the commodity, such as the use of bicycles, heavy-duty trucks purporting to transport sand, crushed stones and coffins, to the displeasure of many.
No memila mishtire abunga na itushupa toletsa mwalaisha mushale mwashitobunga bana panganda ubunga tabuleisa o twaisa tulombe ko kwibazete nesi ukupaka balaika talombe ino bungo fo bulepita mukongo na ina bumpesha mana batubunga bwena buleya traki inga yaisa barwira balerwira bunga ifuna tuchulira mo bunga taturedia twafuenyiko
so turechula nokutupokolola uchiteko kamo basenda uchiteko efino batatushofo twalachita angofo mwinga twafwa bali ubu wafya twakwata
bwena ifuna tuchuliramo twime turi amukushitobunga nangfe kugaisha fefire bale tupoka nomba turechulira mo kuri basmakola bale bishobunga twapapa tabatuisula ko fenangu nitempo fenangu na nyanga tureshita ko bunga.
The defense forces are treating the food security situation in the country seriously, as the Ministry of Defense through the Zambia National Service Command has deployed additional personnel along the borders and are working closely with other government institutions such as the Zambia Police and the Zambia Revenue Authority to curb the vice. The security wings have since swung into action and have apprehended a number of people attempting to smuggle mealie into the neighboring countries. The Defense Minister has reaffirmed that officers have been placed on high alert to ensure that anyone found wanting in the smuggling of mealie will not be spared.
Government, through the Zambia National Service and other security wings, has put up timely interventions by deploying more soldiers in the bordering areas in a bid to intensify efforts to curb smuggling of maize and mealie. Sadly, our own citizens and organizations that have engaged to partner with us, such as security companies, are being used instead to smuggle maize and mealie across the borders instead of safeguarding the commodity.
According to the Zambian law, it is illegal to transport mealie out of the country without valid documents. The Zambia Revenue Authority, ZRA, working with other government agencies, has also intensified border patrols to avoid smuggling of mealie, which is a punitive offense.
The Zambia Revenue Authority is on high alert to curb smuggling and illicit trade of maize and mealie through unearthing various smuggling schemes in order to enhance compliance. To this effect, ZRA, in partnership with security wings, has intensified the fight against smuggling of maize and mealie out of the country. This comes in the wake of an increase in reported cases of smuggling of maize and mealie out of the country. As you may be aware, maize and mealie are restricted products, meaning that they require a permit in order to export. It should be noted that the law is very clear in Section 149 of the Customs and Excise Act that any person that smuggles or attempts to smuggle any goods, aids or assists or connives in the smuggling or attempted smuggling of any goods is guilty of an offense of smuggling.
The ZRA has therefore stated that all vessels crossing borders will be scrutinized to ascertain the validity of the mealie export permits.
The authority would like to warn anyone involved in smuggling that under Section 155 of the Customs and Excise Act, any person found guilty of offense of smuggling is liable to a penalty of up to 300% of the customs value plus the duty payable for the goods or face imprisonment for a period not exceeding 5 years. The authority would like to remind the general public that all vessels used in the act of smuggling will be forfeited to the state. Section 159 of the Customs and Excise Act stipulates in part that any ship, aircraft, vehicle, or other thing used for smuggling is liable to forfeiture to the state. And in this case, the vessel means anything. It can be a bicycle used in smuggling, a motorcycle, a car, a truck, all those are liable to forfeiture to the state. And this is a timely warning to those involved in this act of smuggling.
The rate at which maize and mealie is finding its way into neighboring countries has become a source of concern, not only to government, but also to well-meaning Zambians.
waikara vimwe vyavura pana kutendeka almost ke 3 to 4 days so ke twamuna po mutende wakwamba twapota vungane vunga bwavura kesi tuwena kupota pana ngwaka mone vavena kwamba tumba vunga bwapo pano mashinyi ivena kuingira pano vunga bwapo meso yavena kumona ne vunga bwana kumwekana mukati pano ke vavena kuitibura vishinga ne vena kuitiwe patumba ine vunga bwapo pano moto kake shazi ya kutunteki akine kine vantu twakuikara pano mbaine mwane pemberai pantu vene kurambala ku government wetu namba yetu kwa sheko visemi vya utuzinavyo kumazuvo vya manama.
Our president is very clear. He wants every Zambian citizen to live a normal life. Now what is happening now, this is beyond. The fact that is some of these milling plants are being given maize from food reserve agents, which is at a subsidized price, meaning the first concern and the first interest should go to the household. But what is coming out from these people here, they are telling us they are not giving them attention as individual households.
The shortages we are seeing, citizens, do not think that government has let you down. Government has not let you down. Government has kept sufficient food stock for citizens, the good citizens of the country. But the pressure from our neighboring countries is too much, and they are the ones coming in to get our Mealie meal and take it out. There is a narration which I need to correct. We had allowed exports. As I said, the government policy, the New Dawn government policy, the UPND manifesto is very clear that we are going to allow exports of commodities in Zambia. Zambia has a very small population of 20 million. We are able to support and feed a lot of people out there, not only in Africa, but even beyond African borders.
The reports of increasing smuggling activities, especially in border towns, call for collective effort.
We therefore would like to urge everyone involved in these illegal activities that the Defense Force of Zambia and other sister security wings shall remain vigilant and alert in order to curb the smuggling of maize and Mealie meal. Anyone found wanting, the law shall take its course. Our troops on the ground in the border areas have been reinforced and shall remain focused and alert at all times.
Every Zambian is expected to be vigilant and involved in order to speedily reverse the trend and prevent the country from sliding into food insecurity.